And Luna has decided to go berserk today. Well, I'm not sure if today was the right way to say that or not. I think cameras are all right. We're good, right? I'm afraid if I mess with stuff, it's all just going to get worse. Alright. Just about ready. So, this is the new little key. She's got a bum foot, but we're going to try and work on that. Phoebe doesn't like it. I think she feels like she's being replaced, which makes me feel bad, but hopefully she'll get over it. If she doesn't, we'll have to find this one home. But anyhow, she's going to play in here for hopefully the whole time without being too rotten. So, all right. You got to leave about time, right? 9:30? Oh, pretty much. Okay. Sorry for goofing off. Hello over on YouTube, and I'm not putting this on Facebook yet, but I'm going to get started talking so we can move on with this. Today I've had a request, well, not today was the request, but anyway, I've had a request for a little bit of hip action. So that's what we're going to do. Just listen to your body, and the whole idea of opening your hips, I mean, within reason, right? If you can't put your foot behind your head, so what? Right? Maybe she's not staying. Anyway, so yes, we want flexibility in the joint, but we don't want to be so absurdly flexible that we get hurt, right? So my tagline. Oh, and you know what? So maybe you guys aren't hearing all of this nonsense. Anyway, okay, sorry about that. So anywhere in the body, flexibility is lovely, but you also want to be strong for stability, right? So again, this is a hip-focused class, but if your hips aren't crazy, ridiculously open, don't panic, right? If you can work in everyday life with the flexibility you have in your hips, that's really what we need, right? We don't need to, put our knee over our shoulder or kind of hip opening for real life, right? And that's really what we're doing here, right? Just making real life a little easier. So anyway, we're starting seated. Aligning the heels to the groin as much as you can. So your hips might be a little tight, and this might not be something that's accessible necessarily. So you can sit up on a block. It makes it a little bit easier. Your knees may be lifted. So in a seated position, if it makes it more comfortable, you can always kind of support the outsides, right? With a block. I don't know if that's super comfortable, but like maybe blankets or something, right? If you're going to be in this position for any period of time, right? Just making it more accessible, more comfortable, and maybe over time it does actually get more comfortable, maybe. So let's go ahead and find that comfortable seat, making sure that the pelvis is upright. Lift the pelvic floor, lower belly's in and up, or tall through the sides. Relax through the shoulders, just like into that inner hip. Relax the inner hip. Closing your eyes. And just taking a moment to be fully present in your body, how you feel this morning. Maybe if you've had a rough week, noticing areas that are a little tighter. And just trying to release those areas, being attentive to them, however. Bringing that awareness to your breath. And again, just observing for a moment what's going on in your body right at this moment. And then again, working into more of that yoga idea. So with the body, we're sort of releasing the hips, relaxing the shoulders. With the breath, we want to start to deepen it. Bringing yourself into more of this yoga space. And it's always perfectly comfortable, right? You want your breath to be a little bit of a challenge as well. And then we'll begin to add movement. So let's extend the arms out to the sides. On the inhale, we're going to stretch them up to the ceiling. And exhale as you bring them back down. Keep the shoulders relaxed. Let the arms reflect your breath again. One more time. Let's come back to the top. Inhale. Exhale, just the right hand back to the mat. Give yourself a little tip. Keep the pelvis level. Take a nice big breath here and open up the left side of the body. With the inhale, make your way back up to the top. And take it over to the left. Big breath. Back to center. Over to the right again, moving a little bit deeper into the stretch if you can. Inhaling back to the middle. And then the last one, taking it over to the left. Back to the top. Exhaling the arms. And then we'll bring the right hand to the left knee, left hand behind the back, giving ourselves just a gentle, easy twist to the left here. Notice if you're still upright on your pelvis. Relaxed in through your shoulders and hips. Nice big breath. And releasing that, we'll come back through the middle and over to the right. We'll move back to the middle. Take that first side again, working a little bit deeper this time. So using your left hand like a second spine there, pushing into the floor, and then drawing around maybe from the belly button, rotating through the lower back. And it doesn't rotate as much as the middle or the shoulders necessarily, but just try and even it out, taking it a little bit deeper. And then releasing as we come back through the center and over to that second side again. Same idea. Gently working a little bit deeper into the twist. And then releasing that back to the middle. So instead of having the heels aligned here, let's bring the soles of the feet together. And keeping the four corners of the feet together, right? Sometimes the toes, the ball mound of the foot will move apart. See if you can keep that pressing in. And then draw the heels toward the groin as much as you can. So just like when we started, your knees may be very high, and that's just where it is for you. Right? Try to allow them to relax. Right? We're gonna pull against the ankles here, so we sit up a little taller. If it works for you, elbows to the inner thigh, not the knee, pressing down, but gently encouraging the inner thigh to release a little bit. And then you can add a tip forward if you like, think belly button to heels. Even if it's just a tiny little hinge, you will feel a difference. Big, full breaths. With an inhale, then we're going to make our way back up and extend the legs. So take them out nice and long. Readjust your seat if you need. Again, we're still upright on the pelvis. The feet are flexed with the toes pointing out to the ceiling. So sitting tall, relax your shoulders down. We're going to reach the arms up, hinging forward, leading with your chest rather than your shoulders and head. And imagine reaching your chest towards your toes. Obviously, they're not going to touch. And then just take a moment here, right? And maybe with the breath a little bit, on an inhale, rise up out of it a little, and then on the exhale, sink back in. Just kind of play with it. And as you move into it, as you hold it a little bit longer, sometimes the stretch deepens. We're going to take one more breath here. On an inhale, coming back up to the top. Releasing the arms. And from here, open the feet. So taking a little bit wider stance. Stance, not so much. Position, right? Same idea that we want to make sure we feel upright on the pelvis. Nice, gentle little stretch of the inner hip or in the inner thigh here. So nothing crazy yet. Crazy leg. Sitting up nice and tall though. You can absolutely leave your hands on the floor to help lift your spine if that's something that works for you. We're going to just rotate the upper body to the left and then reach the arms up if you don't need the hands on the floor and come forward over this left leg. Letting your hands fall to either side. So we're not reaching for the toes. Again, we're not rounding the upper back or dropping the head. Just bringing the upper body toward this left leg. Sometimes that right hip gets a little light. Shove it back down on the floor. Keep the pelvis rooted. And then if you like a little bit more of almost a twist idea, press into the left hand and feel your belly button rotate toward the left leg. One more nice big breath here. On the inhale, bringing yourself back to center, rotate to the right, same idea, and fold over the right leg. So again, regardless of where your hands end up, keep the pelvis rooted, the spine nice and long, just feeling a nice gentle stretch. On the inhale, making your way back up again, releasing to center. And then taking the left hand, pin it underneath your right thigh. Take the right arm up and over, like you're reaching for these left toes, but forget the toes. See if you can bring your left elbow to the inside of your left thigh. And then instead of rotating the belly button toward the thigh, think rotating the belly button toward the ceiling. Keeping the shoulder open, relaxed away from the ear, the right hip bone on the floor or cheek or however your brain sees this. Take another nice big breath here. With an inhale, making your way back up to the top and releasing that left hand, switching. So the right hand under the left thigh. Same idea, left arm up and over. Maybe you can bring that right elbow more to the inner thigh or even to the floor. And then press against it to open toward the ceiling. Get another big breath. Inhale as you reach back up again. And then bring yourself to center. So the hands are going to come in the middle. We're still going to sit up nice and tall. If you need them behind to help you sit up tall, that's fine too. And we're going to hinge forward. So right into the middle here. If you have a tendency to hyperextend the knee, press your heels into the floor. Little baby bend. Coming forward. Again, always kind of think leading with the chest rather than your fingers or your face. One more big breath here. And then on an inhale, we're hinging back up, bringing the feet back in. Maybe wiggle around a little bit. And then from here, over onto hands and knees. So rest under shoulders, knees under hips, spread your fingers nice and wide, and feel even on the four corners of the hands, especially if you have some wrist issues. Really even it up here. So with the breath, on an inhale, drop your belly toward the floor. On the exhale, round your spine toward the ceiling. And we're just going to follow the breath in and out like that. You can gently move into those tighter spots. Take your time. Once more in each direction. And then find your middle again. So nice neutral spine here. Right? Make sure the belly's working. Let's extend the right leg straight back. So heel in line with the hip. We want to press through that heel. Make the leg really strong. Take a peek, make sure your toes are pointing at the floor. From there, left arm forward, arm in line with the ear, stretching in opposite directions. Breathing. And then releasing that side. Second side. Left leg. Make it work. And then right arm. And we'll release it. So you can keep the hands on the floor for the next little piece if you'd like. Or you can have the hand lifted away from the floor, either way. I think you would have. So back to the right leg back. Left arm forward if you're going for that, right? So the arm can stay forward or it can open with the leg. The idea is to get the leg going, right? Right now, the toes are pointing toward the floor. Right? We're going to open the toes so that they point to the right, and then bring that leg around to the right. This left arm can extend out to the left at that point, or again, be on the floor. Come back to the middle, toes point toward the floor. So rotate the toes out, take the leg out to the right. Bring the leg back and rotate toward the floor. So again, maybe with the arm, one more time. And then go ahead and release that. So most of the work was happening in the right, but remember to keep active and strong and stable through the left, right? Or in this case, now the right. So we're gonna switch sides. Finding that stability in the right hip. Extend through the left toes here. Again, adding in this right arm if, or how you like. Rotate the toes to the left, take the leg out to the left. Bring it back, rotate the toes to the floor. Do it again, toes out, leg over. Back and toes to the floor. One more time like that. And then back to center. And release. From here, sitting the hips back to child's pose. So begin where is most comfortable, right? And that may be with your knees wide, right? Or with your knees a little closer together. So play with that a little here. As you maybe get a little more comfortable into it, open the knees and sink a little bit deeper. So moving just a little bit deeper into those hips if your body is ready for that or if your body isn't built for that. You get the benefit of the hip work without a ton of work. Extending the arms back up, bring your knees back in. We're going to make our way into a down dog. And work into that down dog. Stretching through the heels. Bring this thing down. Settling into it. So pressing down through the heels, pressing the chest back toward the thighs, and hanging between your arms, nice and even on the four corner of the hands again. Not stressing out the wrists. So just like we did on hands and knees, we're going to see about doing that on off the knees, I guess I should say, and maybe not so much picking up the hands, right? So you decide, lift the right leg, toes are pointing toward the floor, rotate them to the right, and take the leg out to the right. Bring it back, rotate the toes toward the floor. Turn them out, take the leg right. Bring it back, rotate to the floor. And then one more time, taking them out and the leg out. Back and down. Go ahead and sit back into a child's pose again for just a breath or two. And that might be a lot of work for the upper body. If you feel like one elbow is bending or your shoulders are shifting, try and stay as centered and stable in the upper body as you can. And maybe the leg doesn't move out to the side quite as much, right? So, to the second side. From down dog, lifting the left leg. Toes are pointing at the floor right now. Out to the left, and then the leg goes out. Bring it back, toes to the floor. And then again, toes rotate out to the right. So feel the work stabilizing the body in the upper body and then this right hip, yeah? One more time like that. And then release down. Sitting back in your child pose again. So again, the flexibility in the hip is great, but the stability is just as important. So one more time back to down dog. Let's lift the right leg. We're going to step the foot through to the hands this time, coming to a lunge. Drop into the back knee. And then just wiggle a little bit. As the hips come forward, make sure the knee is over the ankle, not in front of. Sweep the legs toward each other, and climb up on the thigh. So try to keep your hips sinking, feeling the left hip flexor. But the legs are pulling toward each other, so even as you're stretching that, you feel the stability of the pelvis holding up here. Hang on if you need, extend the arms if you like. And then gently release that. Go ahead and come up off the back knee. Walk the hands around to center and just hold for a second. Right, toes point forward, feeling even on the four corners of your feet. Take the hands, walk them around to the left foot, and drop the right knee. Same idea, just kind of wiggle. Finding your center, draw the legs in toward each other, climb up on the thigh, keeping the hips low, lifting the chest. And again, keeping the hands stabilizing on the leg or reaching. And then releasing. Lift the back knee, walk around back to the center again. Toes point forward, make sure that it's enough of a stretch, but not too much. Four corners of the feet, index and middle fingers wrap around the big toes. And the elbows bend out to the sides. Drawing the body into this nice little forward fold here. Releasing the toes, fingers interlace behind the lower back. Shoulders pull toward each other, knuckles stretch away. Releasing the hands to the mat. Walking around toward the right foot, lunging to the top of the mat, and then stepping into a forward fold. Let yourself hang for just a second. No, ma'am. Little bend into the knees here. With an inhale, roll up through the spine, all the way to standing. So hopefully the hips are warm. From here, we're going to work into our sun salutes. Remember to modify, work with your breath, and do what's right for your body. So 4/4 of the feet, tucking the tailbone, stand up really, really tall here. Belly's in. We inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale yourself over into a fold. Inhale, come halfway up, flat back. Exhale, step yourself back into a plank. Knees, if you like knees, of course. Elbows tight to the sides as we drop to the belly. Little roll in through the shoulders, baby cobra. Keep the elbows in, up and back to down dog. Inhale and step the feet forward into the fold. Halfway up on the next inhale. Fold back over. To the ceiling, reaching. And releasing. Again, just like that. Inhale and lift. Fold. Halfway up. Back to plank. Down to the belly. Shoulder roll, maybe pull with the hands, opening the chest. Exhaling, make your way back to down dog. And then inhale as we step forward. And halfway up. Folding over. And all the way up. So then, as always here with this next one, you are on your own, right? It's exactly the same thing. If you wanted to add or subtract something, feel free. You get one cue and then this one's on you, right? Inhale, stretch up. And go. Follow your breath. So one more, adding on again or not. Listen to your body, follow your breath. This time inhale, step into chair. And then exhale into the fold. Come halfway up. And back to plank. Down to the belly. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, back to down dog. With the inhale, right foot steps forward. Heel or knee to the mat, and we lift the upper body. Exhale, back down, and into down dog. Forward into a plank. Exhale it down. Cobra. And back to down dog. Left foot forward. Heel or knee to the mat and lift. Take it back down again and into down dog. Last time in the plank. Down to the belly. Cobra. And down dog. So you can hold that down dog or drop down into child's pose. Listening to what your body needs from you right now. If you did drop down, go ahead and lift back to down dog. And then on an inhale, step forward and fold. Halfway up. Folding back over. Into chair. and release it. Right? So then moving into our standing poses, let's take a nice big step back with the left foot. And we're going to work into a warrior two. So right toes point forward. You can see your big toe stacked in the knee over the ankle. Left toes are more to the side or forward if you're a little tighter. So if you can make the outer edge of your back foot parallel to the back edge of your mat, lovely. If the toes need to be forward, then they do. We want to sink down into the hips. So feeling the opening in the hips here, but imagine drawing your legs toward each other at the same time. So we're looking for flexibility and the strength. Extend the arms. And then instead of being open, we're going to close. So if you need your arms on your hips or supporting on the thigh, feel free. You can come center just to kind of bring them out of the way. You can extend the arms if you like. Come up on your back toes and then rotate around, bringing the left hip forward. So coming into this high lunge, you can absolutely drop the knee if you like. Okay? Just feeling the square idea of the hips, still pulling the legs toward each other. Drop it over into a lunge. Step back to down dog. All right, so we're going to do that same series to the second side. Go ahead and bring your left foot forward. Work your toes up there. Drop the back heel, lifting the body, finding the position for your legs for your warrior two. So again, the right toes are pointing out. I was going to say as much as they can, but that's not true. So the back edge or outside edge of your back foot is parallel to the top edge or the back edge of the mat. You get it? Okay, so feeling that opening, we're pulling the legs together to stabilize. And then taking it around to close them up. So arms up, maybe if you like the challenge, the hands center, support, whatever you need. Come around up off the back heel, bringing the right hip forward. So again, this high lunge or a low lunge, back with that right knee on the floor. Keep sinking into the hips. Listen to your body. Pull the legs toward each other. Finding stability. And then releasing it. Into lunge, stepping back, down dog. Let's go ahead and drop on down to the knees and take a child's pose. Knees wide or not. Trying to figure out what feels best for your body right at this moment. We're going to work back to down dog. And let's go ahead and walk the hands back toward feet. So just like we did when we were on our hands and knees and when we were on our downward dog, we're going to lift a leg, open the hip, and take it out to the side. Okay? So hands can absolutely stay on the floor. You can prop up on blocks. You can use your thighs. You can just leave your upper body maybe parallel to the floor if you want the core work. Make sure your back is happy about wherever you are though, right? So keeping the shoulders back, down away from the ears. We're gonna lift the left leg. Press straight through the heel here. Open the toes, but instead of lifting the leg out to the side, open that left hip as if you're going to stack it on top of your right. And then close it back up again. Does that make any sense? Right. So pressing through the heel, rotate the toes to the left, stack the left hip on top of the right, and then release that. We're going to do that one more time. And as much as we're thinking about the left hip, push up and out of the right hip. Right? We don't want to dump the weight onto that hip. Once you're back to center, release the left toes and just relax, hang, a little bend in the knee if you like. Good. And then we're going to move to that second side then. So again, bring the upper body to where it is best on this side. Lift the the right leg. Here the toes are pointing at the floor. Open them out to the right. And then lift that right hip. Again, kind of stacking on top of the left. Rotate the toes to the floor, close them up. Again. One more time. And then release and hang. Go ahead and walk the hands forward, make your way to down dog, and then drop into child's pose. So we're going to keep that same hip idea with the lower body, only we're going to add the upper body. Right? So it feels more or less like, or it feels less like a calisthenic and more like a little bit of a yoga pose, right? So, when you're ready, back to down dog. And you can walk your hands back or your feet forward. That'll make you happy you're in the fold. So the hands can absolutely stay on the floor. Okay? But maybe bring them up to the thighs. And you can support. You can lean more or less with the hands on the thighs. The hands can come center. They can fly. Whatever happy little thing it is, right? Belly's working like crazy. Stop that. Lifting the left leg. And already this is work, right? The hips are square though, right? Turn the toes out, open the hip, stack the left hip on top of the right. Push up and out of this right hip. Working with your balance. Close it back up. And release the left foot. So, moving to the second side, again, you decide where your hands need to be. Floor, thighs, flying, whatever. Okay. So we're going to make sure the belly's working. Support on the left leg. Lift the right leg back. Like warrior 3-ish. And then open the hip like half moon-ish. Close it all back up. Release to the fold. Back into our down dog. And then down to child's pose. So in this child's pose here, come on up to all fours for a second. And then open the knees wide. And whatever wide means to you. So maybe not terribly. Maybe you've got your knees on the sides of your neck. Somewhere in between maybe. Toes touch behind there. So the toes are going to stay together and stay on the floor. We're going to sit the hips back toward the heels for a second. Sink in through your chest. And then come forward, up onto your hands again. Walk your hands out and try and bring the pelvis to the floor. Toes still stay touching and still stay on the floor. Maybe you get all the way to the mat and maybe it's nowhere near it. Either way, you're fine. Just keep breathing. Do what's right for you. Gently make your way back up again. Bring the knees back together and sit back to your knees. 2. Away. Try and plug me. All right. So let's kind of sit up on the heels. We're going to be on the tops of the knees for a little second in camel, but if that is not a good position for your body, just come to a seat and join us when we're done with this piece. So bringing yourself up onto the tops of your knees. You can absolutely cushion them if you need. If the floor is too hard for your knees. Knees under the hips. A little tuck of the tailbone. So we don't want to lean back, but we don't want to shove the pelvis forward either. Staying right stacked. So the tailbone tucks mostly to keep the lower back long and happy and the hips in place. Hands maybe on your lower back, interlace behind your back, out in cactus, extending up, wherever feels right over here. I'm going to pull the shoulder blades together in the back, lift the chest toward the ceiling, and open up into a little camel here. So the front of the hip is nice and open. You're getting a little chest opener. Taking a couple of nice big breaths. If you're looking up, tuck the chin to the throat, keeping the back of your neck nice and long. We got one more breath here. And then we'll gently lift back to the neutral position and sit back on your heels for a second. Take a moment in the middle. And then let's move back to down dog. One more time. Taking the knees to the mat. Let's go ahead and bring the legs around front again. From here, make sure you feel upright on your pelvis. We're going to bring the right foot to the inside of the leg, foot flat. And it can stay there. Let's see if it can come to the outside. Still want the hips level on the floor and this right foot flat. Sitting up tall, you get to kind of hang on to the leg to help. And if that's good, you stay here. If you'd like, see if you can bend the left knee, bringing your heel in front of your right sit bone. Okay. So the pelvis is level, the right foot is flat, your spine is tall. Take the left arm and wrap it around. Right hand behind the back, supporting into that twist. So listen to your body, sit nice and tall, nice big breaths. Releasing it back to center. So if you had your right foot to the inside of the leg, the rest isn't going to make any sense. So you can hang out or move toward this direction, just, again, listening to the body. If the left leg is extended, see if you can bend it enough to bring your shin parallel to the top edge of your mat. It doesn't have to be there. It can be forward. But that's really as far as we want to go. In the twist, we have the heel more toward the hip, right? But here, we want the shin parallel to the top edge of the mat. I'm trying to think of a better way to say it. So we're going to think about walking our feet away from each other. The right foot's going to move left, and the left foot's going to move right. And someday, maybe your knees are stacked. Someday. Pelvis is level on the floor. We're sitting up nice and tall. So you can hang on for dear life here. Try to relax into your hips as much as you can. Lift your chest up nice and tall. Taking the left arm out, bring it in front. Bring the right arm under. Leave it between the hand and face and see if you can catch your hand. You can have your palms together, great. If not, don't worry about it. Relax your shoulders. You can always just simply grab your opposite shoulder here as well. Relax your shoulders, relax your hips, extend through the crown of your head. Maybe extend your fingers toward the ceiling. And then release your arms. And if you're even remotely into this position with your legs, this will work. If you're not, you'll just have to switch, but we're gonna do something a little more fun. So the feet stay where they are. Shift yourself forward up onto your knees and lift your knees away from the floor. Take your hands, walk them to the left. Try not to overthink this. Just keep walking to the left. You're gonna face the back of your mat. You're gonna keep walking to the left until you're facing back to the top of the mat, and then we drop the knees and sit back. So just a little goofy, right? Just some yoga for your brain. So finding that place for your legs. Again, you may not have your shins parallel to the top edge of your mat. Your knees may not be stacked. Ideally, think sinking the hips, or not sinking the hips, but leveling the hips, okay? And sitting tall, or wherever everything else ends up. Try to relax your hips. Take your right arm out, and then in front, your left arm under, between, together-ish. And then gently release the arms. We're going to switch up the legs back to the twist. So bringing the left foot flat to the floor. Maybe your right heel is more towards your hip bone. Maybe your right leg needs to extend back to the front. Maybe the left foot is on the inside of the right leg. So just moving to the second side for the twist. Working it in, making sure the pelvis is level and the spine is tall. The rest doesn't matter as much. Taking the right arm, wrapping around, the left arm behind the back. Big full breaths. Now release your twist. Unpretzel the legs. And then bounce them around a little bit. Right. So taking your feet flat to the floor, working with both just a little bit before we drop down. Make sure there's some place for you to go back there. Sitting nice and tall, hang on to your thighs, lift your chest, lean back just enough to balance. You can pick the toes up or not. You can still work with the legs or the toes on the floor. You can stay with the heels toward the floor. You can take the shins parallel to the floor, take the toes to the ceiling. You can let go. You can do all kinds of fancy things here if you like. Working with your balance, working your abs, make sure your shoulders are relaxed, you're breathing, every time you're happy about this particular thing. And then hang back on again and roll back down to your back. Knees into the chest and we rock a little. Take the feet to the floor. Bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees relax to the sides. Release your belly. Let gravity do the work. But again here, if this is something you need, remember you can totally prop something up underneath the outside thighs just to support so you can rest in this position without going too far, right? Or feeling like you have to work to hold your legs up because you're tight. And then bring the knees back together. Opening the arms out into a T position and simply allowing your knees to fall to the right. Just a nice, easy, relaxing twist. Bring them back up to the center and take them over to the left. And just release. And then back to center again. One last time, knees into the chest. Squeeze them in as tight as you can, holding the forehead toward the knees. Releasing into a full body stretch. Release your stretch and make your way to whatever Shavasana is going to look like. So resting flat on the floor, taking the legs up the wall, taking the soles of the feet together again, any variation that appeals to you today. And then just allowing the body to rest into whatever that position is. Releasing the muscles. Releasing control of your breath. Trying to keep the mind present and focused there. Give yourself just a few minutes to soak it all in. Slowly draw in a deep cleansing breath, and then let it go. Gently moving and stretching. And as you're ready, bringing the feet to the floor. Gently rolling to the side. Slowly pressing yourself back to seated. Sitting well. Bringing the palms to touch. Drawing your head to your heart. Namaste. All right, so hopefully you can walk. Remember, being in the craziest yoga pose is not the point at all. Right? Keeping the body healthy and flexible and strong, right, is way more important, and getting this big muscle between your ears in the right spaces. Uber important. So thanks for playing. I want to give a shout out to those of you who participated in the challenge. You guys did great. I'm really excited. I have to go back through my contacts and see who wins the free workshop. Otherwise, if you didn't catch it this time, stay tuned. I do periodically. I'm not sure when I'll do the next one, but just stay tuned. And I think that's it. So I will see y'all next week, and enjoy your weekend. Bye.